Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello, whatever time it is with you and wherever you are. Thank you for downloading this SmackDown review as part of the WWE podcast. As always, it's an absolute pleasure to have you listening along once again. I am Amanda, your host of this SmackDown review. Let's jump right in and review the SmackDown that aired on June 19th from Kansas City. And once again, the tracker shows 3 hours. When will it end? Apparently, I've been hearing that it's going to be July. We're going to go back to 2-hour shows, and that can't come soon enough. Joe lets us know that this is the 1400th episode of SmackDown, and that is a hell of a lot of hours. We get our rivals, King and Queen of the Ring matches, and of course what will be the main event, Gunther versus Cody, with a smug-ass Sami as tonight's guest referee. We get Wade and Joe giving us a recap on the Gunther-Cody thing, and it looks like that match is going to be coming up first, ad-free, which is pretty awesome. First out, we get Sami, who's got the crowd singing along to his song, but also a fair few boos in what can only be described as a split reaction. Now guys, what do we think happens here? Does Sami call it down the middle? I think we might start off that way, but then I think towards the end Sami screws someone, either Cody or Gunther, let's see. And Gunther straight at it, offering Sami a handshake pre-match. Cody though also has a go and shakes Sami's hand. So who knows? All I know is Sami looks smug as hell, and it's quite annoying. We're getting lots of nice links back to the first SmackDown ever that was filmed where we are tonight in Kansas. It also had the title on the line and also had a special guest referee, so that's actually quite nice, and I'd like to believe that it was meant to be that way from creative, but I feel like it's probably just happened that way by happenstance. But anyway, still a nice tie back. This one kicks off with Gunther getting Cody all tied up, but Cody manages a quick fight back, and Sami already getting booed by the crowd. He's sticking to the rules allegedly, no fast counts etc. yet. We get Gunther working on Cody's legs as he gets the figure 4 locked in. Gunther turns it and manages to nick a few seconds holding onto the ropes behind Sami's back, and so far Sami continues to call it pretty straight, breaking the count and doing proper pin counts too. We get a close pin, but Gunther in a run back to Italy with his leg under the rope, and Sami spots it and calls it. Sami shoves Cody into Gunther, who grabs him up into the sleeper hold, and then we get Gunther pissed off with Sami. Gunther powerbombs Sami, so by rights should be DQ'd right there, but this hands Cody the chance to mount a five back, but with no ref in sight. It's all for nothing, but then a new ref appears like Mr. Magoo, and Gunther kicks out in 2, but actually in reality it was probably at least an 8 or 10 count. Gunther then almost gets the pin, but Sami rises from the dead and yanks the new ref from the ring. We then get a win for Cody via the fastest count ever seen in WWE. Now, there's no way that's the end of this, and I'm calling it now. A triple threat is coming for the title. Post-match, Nick Aldis is going absolutely mental at Sami. That was actually a super entertaining start to the show, and that's 2 shows in a row where we've had a different type of start. And I have to say this was a very entertaining match and a nice bit of storyline development as well. We then get some beef backstage. It's pretty cool, as it's not like normal, so it seems very real. It's not lit properly or anything, so it's kind of like it's happened ad hocly. We then get Cody storm out to the ring and demand the match be restarted with a proper ref. Sami protests and Gunther floors him. And we go again with a new ref. The new match, though, is quickly forced to a DQ finish as Sami comes out and haluva kicks Gunther. He then turns around and wallops Cody in the head with the title, and we end up with Sami in the ring getting more and more conflicted as the crowd chants "Sami sucks, Sami sucks." He leaves the ring with Gunther, the new ref, and Cody all laying, and I'm still calling triple threat coming up. Again, I love this for a start to the show. This is 5 stars for me, and I think it's a really interesting angle. We then get a recap of last week, in which Jade lost to Tiffy, and the loss of the wig, which I actually missed live, but I have seen a million memes and clips of it this week, and I have to say, quite hilarious. We then get Kathy backstage with Jade and her B-card army. She asks Jade where her focus lies next. Jade says that they run the division and they're going to sort out Tiffy. Jade then brags about injuring Rhea and calls out Tiffy to put the title on the line at Night of Champions. God, no thanks. I mean, better her on the mid-card title, I guess. I read that someone posted a comment on social media this week and it basically said, oh, we all want Jade just to win Queen of the Ring and the title. And I have to tell you guys, I've never seen so many comments so quickly, literally instantly, of no, we absolutely do not. So I don't know, whoever posted that comment, they are the lone voice. I couldn't see any comments saying, yeah, that's exactly what we want. It's absolutely not what people want. So let's hope that WWE read that. Speaking of Rhea, it does seem that Rhea's injury is legit, and I really hope that she doesn't have to relinquish again. Hopefully we get some news tonight, especially as Jade has now sort of mentioned it. We then get Gunther backstage with Nick yelling at him about being screwed and telling him that he's not fit to do his job. He says that he wants another title shot at Night of Champions. Personally, if I was Nick, I'd tell him to do one. There's no way he should get another title shot, but I think we all know what's coming. We then pivot to a recap on last week's King of the Ring match with Jay winning, which is still the most meh thing ever. Backstage, we go to Solo and Fatu. Solo tells him again that he's not interested in coming back to the family. Fatu tells him that he's not here for that. He says that he's here to make sure no one gets involved in Jay's match tonight. He does tell him that he's running out of time to make the right choice, to which Solo just looks a bit confused as his MFTs appear, and Solo tells him not to worry about Roman and the family. Tama Tonga tells him to stay in the back for their title match tonight, as he's obviously got a lot going on and they don't know who exactly is going to follow him out and cause trouble, and it's not their business. So it seems maybe that Solo is stuck between a rock and a hard place here. He's obviously not wanting to return to the bloodline, but it seems like it's being floated that he's not particularly wanted by the MFTs. Now, that could be interesting. What if Solo is forced back into the bloodline by not having any other options? I mean, I've made it very clear. I don't like this bloodline 3.0. I don't want to run back to all the old bloodline stuff, but if we have to, this way might make it a little bit more interesting. Next up, we have got Priest and Truth defending the tag titles against Tama and Tala Tonga. Before that, we've got promo number 5 million from Blake Monroe. This time she's talking to Julia. She congratulates her for making it. She says she's coming soon, and I've just started to not believe this. This is the longest long build ever, and it's getting old really fast. They need to get her debuted quickly, and oh my god, when she comes, she better be good, because this has been long and slow and frankly boring as hell. This tag match kicks off and the MFTs are, in fact, minus Solo at the moment. We get some interesting action between Priest and Tala, the two giants. This is a decent match as Solo inevitably appears distracting his own team, whilst Priest takes out Tala Tonga ringside and Truth gets the shady roll-up and the team of Priest and Truth retain. I guess this is going to lead the MFTs to be raging with Solo, and maybe this is how this all starts to end. Post-match, they seem fuming with him for sure. It looks like they're going to kick his ass, but they decide to walk away instead. So this might be another slow burn, but at least they are leaving that angle open. We get Sami backstage talking to a comatose Johnny again, saying much the same kind of stuff. He says he feels like he's losing it. He says he knows he's a good guy. We get Nick, who tells him off for the fast count. Sami says he didn't ask for this. He says he called it right down the middle. He says he didn't screw Cody, and he bets Nick is well happy that his golden boy is still champ. He says Cody should be there now thanking him. He says didn't ask for this, but he isn't going away easy. So we do seem to be heading towards a triple threat, which I think is going to be quite awesome. We get Jade backstage with Evan. That all starts out quite nice and escalates into a bit of minor handbags. I swear to God we can't have Jay as King of the Ring, can we? Next out for in-ring action, we've got Mello versus Ricky Saints for the number one contender match for the US title. And as you guys know, I am incredibly unsure about this. I got zero feels for Saints, and I'm not sure why out of all the people on the roster he's been picked. Mello, I totally get. He is an absolute star. He's got wicked athletic ability. He's a good promo. He completely deserves it. But Saints, I am completely not there. The match itself is good, but ends up with Saints beating Mello and becoming number one contender for the US title, which is utter BS, in my opinion. I'm going to find myself rooting for Trick Williams, who I don't like that much more than I like Ricky Saints, to retain. We go backstage, we got Cody, who's with Nick. Nick tells him that he's working on the situation. Cody says he's tired of pandering to both Sami and Gunther, and he asked for the triple threat, and it's made official right away, which I called weeks ago, guys. So we are on for our triple threat. Kathy now has Flair, and she asks her what it would mean to win Queen of the Ring. Flair says it's true, she's done it all, but the hunger hasn't faded. She says it's been a couple of years since she's had a title, and she wants the crown. She wants to be top of the mountain and wants her number 15. She says tonight she shows Liv why she is the queen now, then and forever, which is quite a nice little tie-in to the WWE tagline. Now, I've had my issues with Flair over the years, but I actually hope Flair does get the Queen of the Ring and the championship match at SummerSlam. I am ready for Flair to have number 15. They've done great work with her. They've really had to work quite hard to turn her character around. She was widely disliked when she returned from her injury. Putting her with Bliss was an absolute stroke of genius, and has really done both of them great things. So I am ready for Flair's 15th title reign. We then get a quick backstage bit with Danhausen and Ryder, who seems to be Danhausen's new bodyguard, which is all a little bit odd. We get Finn speaking to Truth, and Truth is playing the confused card again, trying to resurrect the Judgment Day here on SmackDown, and we carry on with a bit of beef between Priest and Finn. Obviously, I don't mind that at all. It's actually quite realistic and sensible storytelling. Obviously, Finn was responsible for Priest getting chucked out of the Judgment Day, and people don't forget these kind of things in real life. So actually, Finn, or Damien rather, having beef at this point with Finn is completely legit. I don't know where we're going with that, whether it'll end in a match or whether it's just going to be a sort of untrustworthy type angle, but still, I like that. Next out in the ring, we've got Jey Uso versus Evans in the King of the Ring match, and this one kicks off, and expecting this to be a very energetic match. Evans is a phenomenal athlete, and Jey is Jey, and whoever wins this will face Obafemi, who, for me, seems pretty unbeatable right now. This one does end up with a Jey win, which is utter bupkis, but not unexpected. He progresses to the King of the Ring final next week, and he's going to face Obafemi. And logically, there is no way on heaven and earth that Jey could beat Oba. The only way that's going to happen is if we get some shenanigans, and that could come from a couple of quarters. We could see Brock make a return and come out and screw Oba, continuing their feud. Or we could get the OTC and the rest of the bloodline interfering for their own good to hand Jey the win. Either way, I fear we will soon have Jey Uso King of the Ring, and he will be set for a title shot at SummerSlam, leaving over to face Brock. And I 1,000,000%, even more than that if it was mathematically possible, do not want to see another Jey Uso title run. The last one was utter BS. Do I want to see Jey versus Cody? Nope. Do I want to see Jey versus Gunther? Nope. And on the off chance, do I want to see Jey versus Sami? Double nope. Let Oba win King of the Ring, please, and let's have him in the main event of SummerSlam. But I fear we are heading for a Jey King of the Ring. I got no idea why WWE want to run this back, given the success or unsuccess of the last run. We go backstage where we've got Solo and Fatu again. Solo says he has it all figured out. Roman sent you here to get in my head and stick your nose in my business. Solo says he's got a message for Roman. Maybe he'll go to his show and mess in his business. So I'm guessing here we are going to see Solo on Raw confronting Roman. And for what reason other than Solo eventually, and I think potentially quite slowly, but still happening. I think we're going to see Solo being seduced back into the bloodline. Next up, we get a promo from Julia, and credit to her for sure, her English has massively improved. She says she's wrestled in many places and calls out Kiana James for a fight next week in London, and I have to say, yay! I hadn't realised we're in London next week, which means much nicer broadcast times for me, so hurrah! Kathy now has Tiffy backstage and asks her what her response is to Jade's challenge for the US title. Tiffy says she gets it, she's desperate for a title shot, so if she wants it, she'll be there. She starts to say about her pathetic sidekicks and how she doesn't need help when Chelsea appears apologising for not being on time. She says, I'm not a sidekick, we're equals, but Tiffy says, in the last year, all you've done is call me names, and she gives her the tacky time example and watch people beat her up. And suddenly you want to be my friend. She tells her that she doesn't need her help. She can do this on her own. I really hope they do keep these two together. Sensibly speaking, Tiffy should have backup. I mean, it is only the B-card army, but still the numbers game. So I really hope they keep them together. We then go straight into a Liv promo. She tells Flair she knows how desperate she is to win. She tells her she's the past and that this tournament is about proving who's best, and that's not Flair anymore. I have to say that might have a bit more welly if she had defended her title at all. Liv's reign has been rather crap so far. I don't know what they were planning to do. I don't know, is Liv doing a lot of work outside WWE? Is she turned a bit Roman? I don't know, but so far, so crap as far as I'm concerned. We then go right into a Brie Page promo, who say it hasn't been easy. They say Bayley has become a cornerstone of the division and Lyra is a brilliant up-and-coming talent. They say they're ready to take on any team at any time. They say they respect Bayley and Lyra, but they have outsmarted everyone before and they plan to win and retain on Monday. This is all quite breathless. We then go straight into a JCJ promo, who says obviously things didn't go as planned last week, but she blames the ref, says rules don't apply to legends. They say they had the champs where they wanted them, and they say if they are fortunate enough to walk out of Raw as champs, they will take the titles off them then. JC says that she's going straight to ask Nick for a match next week in London against Paige, so she can embarrass her against in front of her friends and family. We then go right to Jey Uso, who walks up to Cody. He congratulates him and tells him there's only one more to go. We then get Sami, who asks Jey how he's doing. Sami says that he thinks Jay's doing great. He tells him it's not Cody you'll be facing at SummerSlam, it's going to be me. So what do we do when that happens? Jay says he will do what he has to do. God, please, no. Can you imagine if one of the main events at SummerSlam, which I believe is now a 2-night event, is Jey Uso versus Sami Zayn? Let that sink in for a minute. Well, a deep breath, because that was a lot of segments back to back. First, Fatal Influence and JC versus Paige. Yes, please, that sounds epic. Paige getting a proper home return is awesome. Will Paige and Brie hang on to the titles versus Bayley and Lyra? Do you know, I'm not so sure they will. Bayley and Lyra probably are the most deserving of anyone I can think of to get a nice title run together. They've been a good team, and I'm a little bit sick of Bayley getting buried. I think she feels like the horsewoman of the four that has been the least well treated, and I would like Bayley to have some time in the sun. So maybe it is time for the legends to drop the titles and let's have a Bayley Lyra tag title run. To Liv, she can't win King of the Ring. I'm not having that. No. Tiffy versus Jade is on, and I hope we get Chelsea input. And finally, Tiffy is grateful and embraces the partnership, and we end up with what I've really wanted to see, which is these two properly having a really good friendship. And I think the work they do together would be amazing. We get a backstage segment, which is randomly Jade and the B-Card Army beating Flair down before the match. No, we don't want Jade in this picture. We've got Nick telling Flair she doesn't have to do this, and she insists she wants to. We've got Liv then walking past taking the mick, and I'm really not a fan of Liv lip-syncing to her own song en route to the ring. It's all just a little bit cringe and reminds me a lot of RuPaul's Drag Race. Liv, sashay away. So Flair is going to try and face Liv as she limps her way to the ring. This one kicks off and it doesn't look good for Flair, with Liv taking full advantage of what Jade and the B-Card Army did pre-match. Thankfully we do get a Flair fight back, but she doesn't seem very capable of fighting Liv here. We then get Bliss out and Nick and the doctors all at ringside trying to stop Flair, to no avail. Liv hits Oblivion, but Flair kicks out. Liv goes right back to Flair's knee and she gets the submission win over Flair. And now Liv advances, so she goes to Night of Champions to face Io Sky. Are we going to get Liv as double champ? Is that how they are going to do this Rhea injury story, or do we get Liv versus Rhea and Rhea as the double champ? And let's not forget Io's relationship with Rhea. How does that fit in if Io beats Liv? Maybe if Rhea does have to relinquish, she relinquishes to Io. I think that would be the only way out of if Rhea has to relinquish. That would maybe make it a little bit more palatable for people. It's all certainly very interesting, and I am actually looking forward to Night of Champions, which I don't think I've ever looked forward to it before. Most of the matches going in are pretty good, and we've still got a Raw and a SmackDown to go before we get there, with plenty of story development already going on. So I have to say this week's show was a strong one. The only real issue I have is with the Saints Mello match, which I'm not super into for reasons I've explained. That's not too bad. The only match I'm not really up for. I'm not totally sure what Jade and the B-Card Army are trying to prove, taking out Flair, as Jade and her wig were already well out of contention for Queen of the Ring anyway. My guess is that they're just being pushed via this angle of Jade and the B-Card Army as being mega heels, and frankly I don't buy that, especially when we have the genius that is Fatal Influence on the show. And I'll say it again, that is the way to bring up a super heel team. That being said, we also got Jey Uso progressing in the King of the Ring tournament, which, as disappointing as it is, I don't think it's massively surprising. There's no way WWE were going to push give Evans a massive push and have him on Night of Champions. Still holding out all kinds of hope that Femi does get the win next week. But again, we've looked at the connotations there and the possibilities of a Brock return, because that's not finished. So there's lots of things to think about. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I quite like the way of things, intertwining and developing nicely. So no real complaints. All good for me this week. That just about does it for this week's show. Thank you for having me in your ears once again. And remember, until next time, to be kind.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.